Shark calls the brush roll on this robot vacuum self-cleaning and anti-hair wrap. That's a bold promise. So we tested it, and what actually happens when hair meets that brush roll is not exactly what the box says. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what that means for your floors. Welcome to Sweep Gear, where we dig past the marketing and show you what a vacuum actually does once it's in a real home. Let's get into it. Robot vacuum marketing all sounds the same these days. Incredible suction, perfect for pet hair, anti-tangle brush roll. After a while, none of that language means much because it shows up on every listing, whether the product actually earns it or not. So when we looked at the Shark AI Ultra, model AV2511AE, we skipped what Shark says about itself and focused on what actually happens once this thing is running on your floors day after day with real pets, real furniture, and real corners it has to figure out on its own. That matters because this isn't a small purchase. You're looking at somewhere between $250 and $350, depending on where you shop and when. For that kind of money, most people aren't buying a toy. They're buying back time. And if you've got pets shedding on your floors every single day, the appeal is obvious. Nobody wants to spend their Saturday morning vacuuming when a machine could be doing it while they're at work. So let's start where it matters most for most buyers, which is pet hair. Off the floor, this thing genuinely performs. In direct pickup testing, it handled pet hair on hard surfaces without struggling, right alongside larger debris like cereal and kitty litter. That's a real strength, not a marketing line. The suction behind it is stronger than you'd expect for the price too. Independent airflow measurements put it in the same range as robot vacuums that cost significantly more, close to what you'd get from something like a Roomba S9. For a mid-range robot, that's honestly surprising. That suction really shows up on hard floors. Hardwood, tile, laminate. This is where the AI Ultra does its best work, removing nearly all the debris in a single pass during real-world runs. If your home is mostly hardwood or LVP with a few area rugs scattered around, this is close to the ideal use case for this machine. Carpet is a little more complicated, and this is where I want you to pay attention because most reviews skip right past this part. On high-pile carpet, it performs impressively well for something in this price range. But on low-pile carpet, results get inconsistent. Instead of lifting fine debris and hair cleanly, the brush can actually press some of it deeper into the fibers, which means it sometimes takes more passes than you'd expect to get a truly clean result. If your home leans heavily toward low-pile carpet, factor that into your expectations going in. Now back to that brush roll claim from the start. Loose hair sitting on the floor does get picked up. That part holds up. But the tangling problem isn't about picking hair off the floor. It's about what happens once that hair reaches the brush roll itself. In hands-on evaluation, most of the hair that got picked up ended up wrapping around the brush, especially near the ends, which honestly shows up across robot vacuums in general. Not just this one. It's not a deal breaker, but if you've got a long-haired dog or cat, plan on checking and clearing that brush roll regularly. Calling it fully anti-tangle is a stretch. Calling it low maintenance is closer to the truth, just not maintenance-free the way the name implies. Let's talk about noise for a second, because this is something people ask about constantly and rarely get a straight answer on. This robot doesn't run at one volume. In eco mode, it's genuinely quiet, close to the level of a normal conversation, so you can have it running while you're on a call or watching TV without much disruption. Normal mode steps that up a bit, noticeable but not intrusive. Max mode is louder, which makes sense given it's pushing more suction. The one moment that actually stands out is when the base empties itself. That cycle is short, but it's the loudest thing this system does. Loud enough that you'll probably want to schedule it for when you're not sitting right next to it. Runtime is straightforward and does what it says. You're looking at up to 2 hours on a full charge, and if it runs low mid-clean, it heads back to the dock, recharges, and picks up exactly where it left off instead of just quitting. For most homes, that's plenty to get a full cleaning cycle done without babysitting it. The base station is honestly one of the stronger parts of owning this vacuum. It's bagless, and depending on your household, it can go a surprisingly long stretch, up to 60 days according to the manufacturer, before you need to empty it yourself. You'll see some listings mention 30 days instead of 60, which comes down to which specific version you're looking at, so double check the listing details before you buy. Either way, if you've got multiple pets, expect to empty it more often than the marketing number suggests, but you're still avoiding the constant chore of manually emptying a bin every couple of days, and you're not buying disposal bags either. Over a year of ownership, that adds up to real savings, not just convenience. Now, here's the part almost every owner brings up, and it's not about how well this thing cleans at all. It's the app. Command reliability has been the single most consistent complaint tied to this vacuum. Sometimes a command gets sent and the robot responds in a different mode than expected, or scheduling doesn't behave the way you'd assume it should. This shows up again and again across different owners, which tells you it's not a one-off glitch, it's a real pattern. The good news is you're not fully dependent on it. There are physical buttons on the robot itself that let you start a clean or send it back to the dock without touching your phone at all. It's not a perfect workaround, but it does mean the app's issues don't have to be a deal breaker. If you're weighing this against other options at a similar price, the comparison that comes up most is the Roomba i3 Plus. Both offer self-emptying convenience and smart mapping features like no-go zones. The Shark pulls ahead with its LiDAR-based mapping, which tends to be more precise, and its larger self-empty base. Roomba tends to pull ahead with a more polished app experience and a stronger reputation for long-term reliability built up over years in this category. If app, polish, and brand track record matter more to you than raw mapping precision, that's worth weighing seriously. If you'd rather have accurate coverage and a bigger break between emptying the bin, the Shark holds its own. Step up in price and you'll run into Roborock's lineup, and that comparison is a little more one-sided. Roborock's app offers far more granular control, room-by-room suction settings, detailed cleaning history, that kind of depth. Their hard floor pickup on fine debris also tends to edge out the Shark in head-to-head comparisons, but you're paying more for that, sometimes significantly more, and if you don't need that level of customization, you may be paying for features you'll never actually use. If you'd like to check today's price or see current customer feedback for yourself, I've left the product link in the description below. So who is this actually right for? If your home is mostly hard flooring or high pile carpet, if you've got moderate pet hair to manage, and if you want a machine that runs mostly hands-off without needing to babysit an app, this is a strong fit, especially at its typical price point. Where I'd pump the brakes is if your home leans heavily toward low pile carpet, if you've got a long-haired pet and want zero brush maintenance, or if you're the kind of person who wants deep app customization and gets frustrated by inconsistent commands. In those cases, you might be happier paying more for a Roborock or leaning on Roomba's more established app if reliability there matters more to you than mapping precision. Is it worth the money? For what you're actually getting, yes, especially compared to machines that cost twice as much and don't necessarily clean any better on hard floors. It's not a perfect robot. No robot vacuum at this price is. But it's honest value. With a few specific trade-offs, you now know exactly how to plan around instead of discovering them after you've already bought it. That's the full picture on the Shark AI Ultra. If this helped you figure out whether it fits your home, tap that like button. It genuinely helps this channel keep making videos like this. And if you're new here, consider subscribing because we've got more honest, research-backed reviews coming for vacuums, robot cleaners, and everything in between. What does your home look like? Mostly hardwood, mostly carpet, or a mix? Let me know in the comments, and I'll tell you honestly whether this is the right pick for your specific setup.